Wayward Dragons. This is episode... I don't even know of our reviews. Because we haven't even been
11.
numbering our review episodes.
Yes, I do, actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
My bad. I don't know. Shows you how much attention I pay to things.
It's book review number 11.
Okay, thank you.
Number 11.
Thank you. See,
Okay.
My brain is mush.
It's fine.
So yeah. Hey guys. If you're new here, this is our off week episode where we just kind of talk about things we've watched, listened to, read, and have nonsensical babble.
Yeah.
So this is the entertainment portion of, I guess they're both entertaining in different ways, but this is the dumb entertainment portion of our podcast.
Yes.
So if you listen to last week and next week's stuff, last week being Bigfoot and next week is
different type of hand fasting.
Yes, because we're gonna be talking about stuff for Kelsey's wedding coming up.
Yeah.
Because my brain is dumb and I can't think this morning.
No.
Anyhow, yeah. So welcome. How's it going? How you doing? You doing all right?
I have had better days. Yeah, had a bad day at my first job yesterday. Very thankful that I'm leaving in September. Very thankful that my fiance is giving me the opportunity to leave that toxic environment, which you know all too well about. Yeah. Wedding.
Been there, done that. Got a few t-shirts.
You still have t-shirts?
No, I said I had gotten, been there, done that. Got some.
Oh, got the t-shirts. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was like, why do you still have that uniform? Why?
No, I don't even. I wouldn't be able to fit in that now. For one, since my body decided to broaden out.
That's fine. It happens.
Because I have to wear like 3X stuff because otherwise I have like massive midriff showing because, and it's not even like stomach issues. It's the fact that my chest and my shoulders like pull the shirts tight.
Yeah.
If I don't, like lengthwise, hey, look, it fits. But as soon as I put it on, the shoulders and chest just kind of push it out. So it's just like, nope, that's not gonna work.
Have you tried big and tall stuff?
Well, that's kind of either that or I have to get 3X shirts.
Okay, because Carhartt, the brand Carhartt, their stuff tends to be like automatically longer. Because he wears a lot of Carhartt stuff. So, because that's the problem is when he doesn't wear like a Carhartt like shirt or something, he has to go a size bigger or buy the big and tall. But Carhartt tends to be naturally like for big and tall people. But, yeah. How are you?
Today I have actually been having a few sensory issues where, like, I don't know, my brain's like picking up on every freaking thing and more so than usual. And so I'm just like, ooh, what's this? Oh, that's a lot. What's this? That's a lot.
I feel that.
So yeah, no, that's how I'm doing today.
Daylight saving started.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Started for me. That sucks. What were you gonna say?
That's a thing. Yeah, so did you read anything over the past 2 weeks?
So I read 4. I actually finished my last one last night because I was going to type up the notes for our Bigfoot episode, but I decided to finish my book instead. Because I have this weird thing, if I get less than 100 pages in a physical book that I'm reading, then I'm in it to win it, and don't talk to me because I'm going to finish this bitch. It's a weird thing that I have. I don't know why, but the moment I get to less than 100 pages, don't talk to me, I have to finish this. So I read A Curious Beginning by Dana Raybourn. So this is like a historical fiction piece. I normally don't read these, and I had to start and stop this a couple of times because it's a slow burn of a mystery type series. Um, but basically, it's set in Victorian England, 1887, and there's a woman named Miss Speedwell. Basically, after her guardians die, some weird shit starts to happen to her. She almost gets abducted, and people are out to kill her. And you find out that she is the bastard daughter of the Prince of England. And people are out to kill her to make sure that she doesn't take the throne, because technically he married her mom and married someone else while he was still married to her mom. So technically the kids that he had with this duchess or whatever are not valid heirs. She's the heir. So it was a little weird. Definitely it took a long time to get there. Like I had to set it down a couple of times because I was just like, this is just taking for fucking ever. Because it's about a 14-hour audiobook, and like if by like hour 3 like we're not in this stuff, I'm like, what is the point? What is the point? It pisses me off to no end. But it's one in like a series. I don't know if I'm gonna read the rest of the series. Not quite sure. And then I read Bonefield by Debra BokurA. So that's I started this series a couple weeks ago, but it takes place in Hawaii, and it's got a lot of Hawaiian folklore in it.
That's cool.
So you follow a detective who's also like the spiritual person for her family, and there's an island, shit, Nali, Lanai. Basically the island's known for folklore of just being a horrible cursed island and just bad things happen, and there's a myth around the island of how one of the gods took all the demons away and made it like an inhabitable place. But known throughout the islands, this island is known just for bad things happening. And these tourists find a body in an old refrigerator buried in an old pineapple field. And the person in the fridge doesn't have a head; they have a wooden pineapple instead of a head. So basically, Kali is called out because she's one of the main detectives on, and you find out that there was a cult at the time of this pineapple field was being cultivated. There was a cult next door, and just like every cult under the sun, a lot of, well, the leader's God, obviously, and it's his way or the highway. A lot of sexual abuse happens, and he starts convincing people within the cult that certain people need to go because they're unworthy, or they're not, the only way for them to be accepted into heaven was to kill them to release them. But it gets a little weird. I mean, sexual abuse with children, so it's not a light read. So that was kind of interesting, because in the book there's a lot of spiritual things that happen, because she's also telling you parts of the creation myths and stuff and folklore that is part of the Hawaiian culture. So it's interesting. I do like reading that one. There's one more in the series that I have to get from the library. So the next book I read, I have to laugh at. So I think I already returned it to the library. Yeah, probably already did. So I read The Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe by Alex White.
That is a long title.
It is. It is.
that's like a 1600s title where they just try to figure out how many words they can fit into the title. The unexpected
Exactly.
journey of the man who was from Nantucket that went on a ship and why
Yeah.
are you doing this?
Yeah.
There's no point in having this many words in a title.
No. But it's book one in a three-part series called The Scavengers. It's L it it's LGBT.
Gay,
Ba- huh?
as a gay.
There there's lesbian love. Um
Nice.
there's it's all innuendo, but there are
We
lesbian
need more
characters.
of that, honestly. Like we need more queer love and like stuff like that. We need more,
Yeah. And it was very
ace people,
subtle.
and we need more ace people in novels. We need more
Yeah.
pan people, more demi people. I've actually only read a single book or seen in a single book uh, a demi person, which was cool if the author put that in, but it's like you never have that.
Mm-mm. No. So basically, it's like 28 plus. Like we're in 2023. We're 800 years into the future. And everyone is born with magic. Everyone. And it is very rare for someone to be born without magic. And the novel follows two people. Boots, who's a non-magical um treasure map maker person, and Nala. Nala is a race car driver, and basically during one of the races, um the villain in the story kind of stops time and kills the person that she's like up against. Like she's going from like second to first place, so that first place driver type thing. um but because the villain kind of stops time, it makes it look like Nala killed the driver. So she kind of weirdly like transports herself to the planet that Boots is on. And she's like, I'm gonna find this chick and she's gonna help me clear my name. But the problem is the only way to clear their name is they have to hunt for this lost treasure ship, like spaceship. And like Nala's like a machinist. Like that's her power. She can go into machines and manipulate them, and she can manipulate. She's got like these weird, like it reminds me of like a jellyfish type thing where she becomes like, or maybe like a peacock or something. But she's got tattoos that like flare with her emotions and stuff. So she
Huh.
uses that and everything. She can change them different colors depending on her mood, or like um she can make them vibrate to where it looks like she's not there. You can't see what she's doing. Um but Nala is the bi character in the book, but she falls in love with the quartermaster on the ship that takes him hostage. So, and the quartermaster's this like Amazon type woman who's
So
also
it's
like
not. Is it
innocent.
like Stockholm syndrome though?
No, no, I don't think so because they fall in love after like the whole ordeal's done. Like, and there's hints of like she wants to get to know her, like conflicting things of like
Okay,
I hate her because she's kidnapped me, but like I want to know more about her type stuff that kind of conflicts. So
gotcha.
because they have to kill the prime minister because like the prime minister of the main planet's all on this. And basically you find out that these people orchestrated the destruction of Boots's planet. And it was awesome to listen to because of the machine robot voices, because like when you read an audiobook, like all the voices are different and stuff. So the robots and stuff in the book, it's funny because they have like the robot voice. But it was nice to read. The big ship at the end of the universe. It's got LGBT characters. Well, a lesbian couple, but yeah, it was nice. It was nice to read. And then the last one that I finished right before I went to bed last night, because we talked about this book series in the last one, The Curse of the Land by Faith Hunter. So this is book 2 of the Soul Wood series. We talked about the first one last time, where it's in Tennessee and weird Amish stuff. But basically, at the end of the first one, Nell is about to go to spook school. So that's the school that they send all these paranormal FBI agents to. And when she comes
Spook
back,
school.
huh? That's what they call
Spook
it.
school.
Is spook school. But basically, when she comes back, her boss, Rick, is like, hey, some weird shit has been happening the last week or two while you've been gone. They got a call about geese swimming in a pond, and they were swimming in a pond clockwise, and the pond was reading radioactive. But when they get out there, they have this thing called a psych meter, and in the book, each magical person reads certain levels in these 4 categories. So like were creatures read like high in these 2 categories, but like witches read high in this category, and if you're human, you're like baseline, right? So when they get to the pond with all these geese, the psych meter goes off of a witch circle type working. So Nell goes, she does her little ground thing, and she finds this weird like infinity loop creature kind of doing these circles over this ball of energy, and the ball of energy is called an old one. And basically in the book, there's all these old ones all across the world, and one just happens to be in Knoxville, Tennessee. And so she kind of doesn't understand what's going on. To the second site has deer that like won't stop like walking in circles, and they keep getting hit by cars and stuff. And when they die, they like give off like this weird black like ooze. And then they discover the ley lines in Knoxville, Tennessee are gone.
Huh.
Yeah, ley lines in Knoxville, Tennessee are gone. And you find out that because in the story, Knoxville is home to the secret city for the government, where a lot of...
I thought that was under the Denver airport.
It probably is, but in this novel, it's Knoxville, Tennessee.
Do you know that whole conspiracy?
Oh yeah, where like there's shit.
Those are people.
Oh yeah, I mean it's totally believable. I mean,
guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, look up lizard people in the Denver airport. You will either rethink reality and think lizard people are running the Denver airport, or you will be laughing your ass off.
It's one or the other. It's very convincing information. Like I will give everybody that, like, convincing. Not 100% convinced, but I will give you plausible. And so because the secret city's in Knoxville, Tennessee, basically the grids are so overlapped because of the government agencies. So there's no real like if the power goes down, they won't be out because of how crossed the electrical grids are. So because of that, there's a couple energy companies, and you find out that some of the energy companies are trying to use magic as to make like an infinite power source. And it reaches back into World War II with all the paranormal stuff that Hitler did. And you find out that the Covenant of Witches that he tried to get them to do 2 workings. One was called Inferno, and one was something else I can't pronounce. And basically, with the two workings, if you did them together, it made like a magical bomb, and it would destroy everything. But if it went wrong, this weird black slime would grow over everything in the meantime. And that's what's happening in Knoxville, Tennessee in the book. Is this weird like slime mold starts growing all over the people affected in the areas, like all over the ground, the trees, like everything. And you find out that one of the energy companies tried to recreate what happened in World War II, but the witches that he got were like, haha, no, this is not a good idea. And in turn, when they sabotaged it, they messed with the old one that is in the Knoxville, Tennessee, and they made it so that the working, when it completed its cycle, would wake the old one, and that's not good. It's not good. So yeah, that's the what I've read. It was like a that last one that was interesting with the whole World War II tie and how far back that went. There's another undercurrent like storyline that happens because of the leader of their group, Rick. He's a were-leopard, but the problem is that he is stuck in his human form. He has a binding magical tattoo on his shoulder that prevents him from changing into his were form during the full moon. So this case takes place during the full moon. So like a good portion of her team's not available because of their were creatures. But
I mean, I get why that would be a good thing to do, so you don't lose control. But at the same time,
he struggles.
that's kind of your point.
Like, yeah. Well,
I can see how that would be interesting scoop for a narrative wise.
yeah. Well, it's the undercurrent because there's things that Rick did to get the magical binding. That was a punishment of his. But his were partner, Paka, you find out that she is sent there for some horrible vengeance for what Rick did years before. And during the full moon, she bites him enough that she forces Rick to change. But Rick's stuck as a leopard because of his tattoo.
Like, okay.
So it stops him from doing one or the other, either going back to human or going from human to were.
Well, I was gonna say, so if his tattoo got damaged, is that a plot thing in the book? Okay.
That's the end of the book. Is Nell figures out that she can actually like enter people and like read you like what's wrong, and she enters Rick as in his leopard form because that's how he is at the end of the book, and she's able to cut the magical binding in the tattoo. And that's kind of where it's left off. Is she thinks she's kind of fixed it? You're not quite sure, but like,
Okay.
yeah, you're not positive about what happens. You gotta obviously read the next book to figure out what happens. So, what'd you read? We'll do movies.
All the things, you're done. Like everything. I read every book ever. So for this, I have 4 books because I was slacking.
Fucking slacker. You're ahead of me.
Well, actually, I got into a new podcast and I've almost listened to like
all of it.
Nearly 200 episodes. Like there's that.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's that.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a nice binge. That's good. That's a good binge.
Yeah.
I'm not applauding you for your binge, but that's a good amount of binging. Sir.
Well, it's only like the episodes are only like 22 minutes each.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So listening to it at work, I listen to it at 1.5 to 1.8 7.5 times speed, so it goes a lot faster. But I'll get to
Gotcha.
that in a minute. So the book series that I read is the Fall of Radiance / Art of Radiance series, because for some reason on Goodreads it has it under 2 different series,
Yeah, I
even
saw that.
though there's not another series. There's only 4 books. So the whole series basically it's your typical fantasy love story type thing.
Yeah.
But one character is training to be a mage, and her goal in life is to be the greatest mage ever. Which, I mean,
Okay.
she's a pretty kick-ass mage and is really freaking smart. She's smarter than like any of the other mages, and gets advanced through levels super fast. And the other guy the guy that's in it is an apprentice ranger.
Mm-hmm.
So he's used to being out in nature and all of that, and they live in a kingdom that is surrounded by what they call the Ark, which is basically they live under this giant bowl that keeps
Okay.
demons out because the rest of the world was destroyed by demons.
Okay.
And demons are starting to slowly get in.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
And so they've got to, convince other people that this is happening. There's a civil war that's going on within the kingdom because the king and his incompetence.
Okay.
Can't really say much more than that without ruining any
Spoiling
of
it.
the story.
Okay.
Just, you know, of course, there's certain things that are a bit predictable if you're like me and you can recognize patterns really easily. But that's as with everything. Uh, it is by Blake Arthur Peel. Like I said, there's 4 books.
Okay.
So that's that. I think on average they all have around a 4 star review on Goodreads. So most people tend to like it, I guess. I enjoyed them. Uh, have you watched anything or listened to any new podcasts?
Um, so we just finished the Jared documentary that's on Discovery Plus. Um, so it's 3 episodes about the mom that helped bust Jared from Subway in a child pornography ring. So that was weird, scary, creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart. It's crazy that it takes place in Indiana. That was I did not know that. Um, so that was new for me that I did not know that would take place in Indiana. But yeah, I mean, I haven't been listening to new podcasts. I don't even listen to the podcasts I normally listen to. Um, because I save those when I drive to my dad's when I go visit my dad. So that's what I save podcasts for. I was like, I'm in the middle of a couple. I'm in the middle. The Clockwork Dynasty. That's the book I'm working on.
Hmm.
Like Terminator, but if Terminator was set in the 1600s,
So it's like steampunkish.
kind of.
Yeah. Okay. The podcast that I have been obsessing over and I've almost listened to 200 episodes of is the Magnus archives, which I guess ended uh, last year before last, something like that. But it's interesting because everything's done through like a tape recorder or 3 recordings, but it's all yeah. So it's like the people just using a tape recorder.
Okay.
But the storyline behind it is they are a organization that is uh, set up by the English. Oh, let's say by the English government. They're set up in conjunction with the English government to investigate and to record weird things that happen. So people come in and like give statements on weird things that they've experienced, and they record them. And as the story goes on, let's just say it's very much like X-Files in some way, or
Okay.
The Librarians. If you ever,
Fucking love that show.
yeah, so like that show and those movies, or Warehouse 13, very much that kind of thing. If you're
Yeah.
familiar with any of that,
I fucking love The Librarians. That's a good show and
but
movies.
there is some like, I would describe it as a dark fantasy series. I'm sure others would probably describe it as horror, because I've found out recently that there's a lot of things that kind of cross the two boundaries. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was like, they describe themselves as a horror horror fiction podcast.
Yeah, I would say dark fantasy, but I've I have determined recently that horror fans will literally say everything is horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's
So
not.
guys, you can be fans of other stuff. It's okay.
It is. It's totally okay.
But that's neither here nor there. And then I got hooked on the show Evil, which is a fun, weird show about this lady who she is a consultant for the DA's office for psychological profiling, and then ends up getting hired by the Catholic Church because they want to determine whether people are either possessed or if it's just a psychotic break. And so she helps them investigate all sorts of fun things like possible possessions and miracles and stuff like that. And there's some really interesting designs from some of the demonic entities they show in that.
I was wondering how good that show was.
It's really enjoyable. I highly recommend it. But yeah, that's what I've been watching and listening to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And we gotta get variety this week.
Yeah,
We gotta get variety.
all the things.
All of the things.
Hopefully, I'll have more books, next time, and not just four.
It's okay. You're almost done with your Goodreads goal for the year, and it's only March.
I mean, I'm gonna have to like up it
Again.
because I'm at 57% complete.
Yeah.
With 30 books for the year right now, so I'm gonna have to up that. I'm thinking about upping it to like 69. And I know one of our listeners out there heard that and is just like, nice. Nice. So yeah, I think that's all we've got for this episode.
Yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful spring equinox. So this episode will come out after the spring equinox, and those who celebrate Ramadan. I hope that you guys have a wonderful time with Ramadan, because Ramadan starts not long after that. So,
Yep.
Yeah,
so until next time, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Kelsey.
Bye.